My family has been practicing medicine for generations, and we have the legendary 13 needles of the Ghost Gate. But I followed my father's request and kept my identity hidden in a small Chinese medicine restaurant. However, when I went home that day, I found that the set of cold body needles left by my father was missing. When I asked my girlfriend, she said disdainfully, "I gave your broken thing to Yu Hang. He is a top student in medicine, and his father is a master in the medical field. It happened that the old man gave it to him on his birthday. He said that it was left to me by my father." I was extremely angry because the set of needles was used in conjunction with the 13 needles of the Ghost Gate. My girlfriend glanced at me and said with disdain, "It's just a barefoot doctor. You want me to accompany you?" She slammed the door and left angrily. But I didn't expect that within 3 days my girlfriend called me again. Don Ma Yu Hang's father was dying, and he said that only the real master could save him. I laughed when I heard this, right? He doesn't look down on Chinese medicine. The needle is in his place now, what does it have to do with me? My words immediately aroused the dissatisfaction of my girlfriend Sun Xiaoya. What do you mean? Mr. Chen is a great man. It is your honor to treat him. I laughed even more when I heard this, right? Then don't look for me. How can I, a barefoot doctor, be qualified to treat others? When Sun Xiaoya heard what I said, she glared at me and yelled, "Then I was wrong about you. Now everyone is seeing Western medicine, but you are still studying Chinese medicine. Look at you, Hang, that's enough." I interrupted Sun Xiaoya angrily and then looked at him and said, "Since you admire Western medicine so much and praise Chen Yu Hang so much, don't come to me." My girlfriend stared at me and was so angry that she couldn't speak. I was too lazy to pay attention to her. Seeing that my girlfriend was about to slam the door and leave, I lazily said that the tumor was compressing the nerves. If she delays any longer, she will surely die. She will most likely not be able to get off the operating table with the surgery. Sun Xiaoya reflected deeply, looked at me and left. I have been dating my girlfriend for 7 years. It was a bit ridiculous back then. At that time, an old lady fainted on the roadside and Sun Xiaoya, a kind-hearted doctor, immediately helped her. But the old lady did not get better despite his fierce operation. After a few injections from me, the old lady woke up slowly. From that day on we officially met and then we slowly talked together. At that time, Sun Xiaoya had just graduated from graduate school and was studying for a doctorate, with almost no clinical experience. But although my family has been studying Chinese medicine for generations, Chinese medicine is not self-contained. The combination of Chinese and Western medicine is indeed more effective. Although I don't have the high education of Chen Yu Hang in his palace, and I don't have his strong family background, my experience in Western medicine is better than that of ordinary people. So I was sure that the other party would come to me again, but in the next 5 days the other party did not come to me. This made me feel a little uneasy. This old man would not save his face and die at the cost of his life. In fact, it has nothing to do with me whether the other party lives or dies. The reason why I am thinking about this matter is for the set of Yunti needles. Otherwise, if I go to ask for it, the other party will probably not give it to me. But on this day, when I just finished a day in my Chinese medicine restaurant, 6 or 7 people suddenly came in. Hello, I thought it was another patient, and I greeted them unconsciously, but when I looked up, the 2 people in the lead were my girlfriend Sun Xiaoya and Chen Yu Hang. This made me frown slightly. Chen Yu Hang brought this group of people to me, and said with a smile on his face, "Brother Don Ma, I came here this time, hoping that you can save my father." I looked up and interrupted him, lowered my head and sorted out the things on the table, and said coldly, "Mr. Chen, I am a small person, I don't have the ability to save your father. Please go back." My words made the other party stunned, and Sun Xiaoya beside him was immediately angry. "Qiu Donma, what do you mean Yu Hang has come to you? Why are you so arrogant?" Hearing this, I looked up at him with joy and laughed. "Haha, I really wonder, are you my girlfriend or his girlfriend?" My words made Sun Xiaoya stunned, and then snorted, saying that you gave me this face today. Yu Hang and I are good friends, you don't help him. I lowered my head again to sort out things, not gonna talk anymore. But the few people next to Chen Yu Hang were not happy. Yu Hang, I think you are a liar. You wait for my uncle to come back, he also knows Chinese medicine, but I tell you, in this day and age you still have to use Western medicine. This is a waste, I doubt he has any medical qualifications. Chen Yu Hang heard this, his face looked a little ugly, but he still gritted his teeth and whispered, "Brother Don Ma, let's do this, as long as you can save my father, how much money you can name." Hearing this, I immediately laughed up to the sky. "Ha, Chen Yu Hang. You are so funny," I laughed non-stop and even couldn't straighten my waist. At this time, Sun Xiaoya suddenly stepped forward and kicked me, shouting, "What time is it? You are still laughing. Do you know that Mr. Chen is in danger?" I was kicked to the ground by his sudden kick, and I almost got a stitch in the side. I slowly got up. The force of this kick was not light, which also made my face covered with frost instantly. I glanced at them coldly, then casually patted the dust off my body and slowly said, "Oh, he is in danger, I think he has already fainted. Those traditional Chinese medical masters are helpless, otherwise you would come to me." I didn't wait for them to speak, and said again that my grandfather was dying. You still can't put down your pride and find a bunch of chicken-stealing and dog thieves to support the scene. You have studied medicine for decades, but you don't even know this little rule. After saying that, I turned my eyes to Sun Xiaoya and said, you gave away my ancestral needles privately. If it were in the past, you would be beaten to death. Sun Xiaoya, I give you 3 days to bring the needles back to me, otherwise our husband and wife relationship will end. After saying this, I made a gesture of invitation. The faces of the people in front of me suddenly became extremely ugly. Then Chen Yuhang snorted and said, let's go. Looking at the people leaving, I squinted my eyes. These proud sons of heaven are really naive. But today's incident just happened. At noon the next day when I was eating, suddenly 4 or 5 luxury cars came to the door, followed by a middle-aged couple. Walking into my shop, the middle-aged man glanced around, then his eyes stopped on me and he said with a smile, this must be Dr. Qiu Danma, can you please spare me a moment to talk? The middle-aged man looked very similar to Chen Zihong yesterday, and I knew that these should be his parents. I had just finished treating a patient, and I looked up at the two of them and said, I don't have time now, can't you see that I'm treating someone? My attitude obviously made the woman next to the middle-aged man unhappy. She snorted and said, what? Our Chen family came to you to give you face. You don't know what's good for you. Hearing this, I stood up, pointed to the door and said, get out, you are not welcome here. My sudden anger scared the middle-aged couple, and at this time the woman who walked out of the door, Sun Xiaoya, came in just in time and said, what are you shouting for, Qiu Danma? This is Chairman Chen of Yuan Kong Pharmaceutical Company. I glanced at Sun Xiaoya and said, he is the king of heaven, and he has nothing to do with me. As I said that, I sat down again. The middle-aged man's expression was a little ugly, but he still forced a smile and said, Dr. Danma, my father mentioned that you have superb skills, so I would like to trouble you to do it once. After he finished speaking, I hadn't spoken yet, but the rich man next to him suddenly sneered and said, Yongkong, I think he wants money. As he said that, he took out a stack of checks from his bag and threw them directly on my table. With a sneer on his face, he said, fill in as much as you want yourself. Look at your broken place. If it is cured, old man, you can build 10 houses like this right away. I think he glanced at the check, then looked at the other party, then reached out to take the check. Seeing this, the middle-aged man and the woman showed a hint of complacency on their faces, and there was a hint of contempt in their eyes. After I filled it out, I smiled and handed the check over. The woman took the check and said sarcastically, you are sensible. If it weren't for the old man's instructions, I would have saved you. Suddenly, his words stopped abruptly, and the smile on his face was replaced by anger. What's wrong with my wife? What's wrong with this kid filling out a 100 billion check? The middle-aged man took it and looked at it. His expression was immediately very ugly, and Sun Xiaoya on the side was immediately unhappy and said, Qiu Danma, Mr. Chen and his wife are sincere enough to find you. How can you still ask for money? I sneered and said, is it what I want? Not this appa. Sang insisted on giving it to me. I looked at the 3 people with angry faces and added fuel to the fire. I said, let me talk about it again. What I wrote is not the foreign character. Can't you tell the difference between US dollars and RMB? At this moment, my words finally angered the other party. The middle-aged man looked at me and roared, 100 trillion US dollars, you are crazy about money. Sun Xiaoya immediately comforted the middle-aged uncle and aunt, don't be angry, he was joking, and then he turned his head and yelled at me, hurry up and admit your mistake to your uncle and aunt. Why are you so ignorant? Hearing his words, I laughed immediately, and then said that it is an honor for Mr. Chen and his wife to come to my place. I was indeed joking just now. My attitude turned 180 degrees, and the 2 people's faces looked better. Mr. Chen said again, let's do this, I will give you 3 million, which is enough for you to renovate this place well. Hearing his words, I shook my head. The woman was immediately angry and said, who do you think you are? Do you think you are worth 8 million? I was not annoyed at all when I heard his words. I still smiled and said, I am not worth it, but is your old man worth 8 million? The middle-aged man was also angry. Just as he was about to speak, I suddenly shook my head and said with a smile, I don't want money. I just want you to do one thing. What is it? These 2 people's eyes lit up and I said slowly, you 2 kowtow 3 times in front of me or get out immediately. With the roar of the middle-aged man, a group of people rushed into the store. Boy, we have been listening for a long time. Why don't you give face to us, Mr. Chen? I think you are courting death. Live saying this, several people rushed towards me with sticks, and the silver needle twisted in my hand immediately shot at several people. Ouch, several gangsters in the room fell down immediately, and there was also someone who asked for a doctor's kung fu. Several patients couldn't help but cheer for a moment, but I didn't expect Sun Xiaoya to suddenly come forward and hug my body. What are you doing? As soon as I shouted this, I was hit hard on the head with a stick. Suddenly, my eyes went black and the blood on the top of my head flowed down. At this time, Mr. Chen's low voice came, saying that it's okay to teach him a lesson, but don't beat him to death. Suddenly, I felt a group of people punching and kicking me. At this moment, a voice came from outside the door, asking who is Dr. Qiu Danma. Everyone stopped and looked out together, only to see an old man in a tang suit. He walked in slowly, and the one who had just shouted was the young man beside him, Mr. Feng Feng. Mr. Chen immediately recognized the man in front of him, because this man's reputation was far greater than his father's, and he was even called the medical god. The old man ignored the other party and glanced around and fell on me. When he saw that I was covered in blood, he staggered immediately. Who the bastard beat Moore like this? The old man in tang suit immediately rushed to me and helped me up. Seeing this scene, Mr. Chen couldn't speak clearly. Mr. Feng, what are you doing? The old man in tang suit glanced at him and said in a cold voice, Okay, you dare to beat people in broad daylight. Today I want to ask you why you beat me. The young man brought by the derelict old man came over and helped me sit down, and then treated my wounds. Chen seeing this, the general didn't know what to say for a moment, and at this time Sun Xiaoya suddenly said, Old man, in fact, it was just that General Chen wanted to ask him to treat his father, but Qiu Danma didn't give him any face, so it's not General Chen's fault. Hearing this, the old man in Tang suit laughed, then looked at me and said, Amor, do you still remember me? My eyes were a little swollen and I recognized it myself through the gap and then exclaimed, Feng Qianyan, who told you to call the old man by his name? Look at this kid. He has no family education. As soon as I finished speaking, Mrs. Chen immediately pointed at me and cursed. Pa! Suddenly Grandpa Feng slapped him in the face and he was stunned. What the hell, it's your turn to speak here. Seeing this scene, my heart, it was really a relief. At the same time, I recognized the other party's identity. I knew they didn't dare to act rashly. Grandpa Feng looked around, then said in a deep voice, But Mo Xiaoyu is my senior brother. He is qualified to talk to me like this. When these words came out, everyone was shocked. What's the matter? Oh, it's so powerful to ask the miracle doctor. After hearing what Grandpa Feng said, Mr. Chen and his girlfriend were also stunned. Then the old man continued, Who beat the little boy today? Go check the surveillance and catch them all back for me. It was the master. After the young man heard it, he went to retrieve the surveillance. Grandpa Feng looked at Sun Xiaoya at this time and said, You just said that they asked Dan and Mo to see Chen Shizhong. Yes, old man, in fact this is all a misunderstanding. I couldn't help but sneer when I heard this. Sun Xiaoya, I think you want the heart of the daughter-in-law of the Chen family is almost written on her face. What did you say? Hearing this, Sun Xiaoya's expression changed, but due to Grandpa Feng he couldn't get angry. Who is this more? She is my girlfriend. No, she used to be, but not now. Hearing this, Sun Xiaoya's expression changed, just about to speak. She heard Grandpa Feng snorted and said, It's ridiculous, leaving a mountain of gold, but wanting rags. Hearing this, I am so happy my junior brother is really useful. Hearing Grandpa Feng's words, Mr. Chen's face was a little ugly, but due to his father's illness, he could only whisper, Grandpa Feng, my father is dying now. My son came to him before, but was scolded. I was really anxious. I heard the other party's words in a hurry. I immediately with a cold snort, Your son is such a filial son. After hearing what I said, Grandpa Feng immediately followed up, Oh, what's the matter? His precious son brought a group of people to see me, saying that he came to ask me to treat his grandfather. A group of people? Is this to invite people or to kidnap people? I thought to myself, this junior brother is indeed an old and experienced man. He really can't fall behind in cooperating with my performance. Is this called sincerity? I think he is ordering me to go over. Hearing this, Sun Xiaoya couldn't help it and immediately said, What do you mean Yuhan comes to you? Do you have to kneel down for you? He just finished speaking. Unexpectedly Grandpa Feng snorted coldly and said, Kneel down, He is not worthy of kneeling down. I knelt at the door of his grandfather's house for 3 days and 3 nights. Who is this Chan Yuheng immortal Lu? Such a big family. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked again. You know, Feng Qianyan is already the pinnacle of Chinese medicine now. This is the heads of state and family tycoons who can't be invited, and such a person actually knelt at the door of someone else's house for 3 days and 3 nights. The old man spoke again, Don't say you little bastards. Even if it's Chen Shizhong who comes to kneel, my senior brother can still ignore him. Oh my, this call of Uncle Master must make me feel good. Seeing this, I suddenly thought of something, and then hurriedly asked, By the way, Lao Feng, what's the matter with you coming here this time? Hearing what I said, Feng Danian trembled all over, and then burst into tears in an instant, and was about to kneel down in front of me. I hurriedly supported him and said, Okay, let's not use this trick on each other. Just tell me what you want to say. Feng Danian wiped away his tears and said to me in a trembling voice, My precious granddaughter has a strange disease. I have searched through ancient books to find out the cause, but this disease can only be cured by your Ghost Gate 13 needles. What Ghost Gate 13 needles? Hearing this, Mr. Chen was shocked. Sun Xiaoya was a little confused and immediately asked Uncle Chen, What's wrong? This acupuncture method is very powerful. Mr. Chen's face was full of horror. He looked at me and said, I also heard about this Ghost Gate 13 needles from my father. It is a unique skill that has been lost long ago. Lost Humph, I have been with him for so many years. How powerful can this Ghost Gate 13 needles be? Sun Xiaoya couldn't help but sneered, but in return Mr. Chen's face was pale and his lips were trembling. The living dead was flesh and bones. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked again, and Mrs. Chen on the side was also dumbfounded. At this time they realized what kind of person they had offended. Mr. Chen looked at me immediately, his legs softened, and he knelt down with a plop. No, little friend Cho, Dr. Cho, please save my father. I was wrong before. You can punish me in any way, as long as you can save my father. I looked at Mr. Chen who was kneeling on the ground and kowtowed, and then looked at Mrs. Chen with my eyes. When the other party saw me looking at me, she immediately knelt on the ground with a plop. Then I glanced around and suddenly a large group of people knelt down, all the way to Sun Xiaoya. Sun Xiaoya frowned when she saw this and was about to speak, but I said loudly, Oh, this is difficult. Sun Xiaoya doesn't seem to want me to save her. What do you mean? I turned my head to the side, which immediately made Sun Xiaoya very angry. But before he could get angry, I heard Mr. Chen say, Miss Sun, as long as you can help me, you can name any money you want. Sun Xiaoya's face turned red and white at this time. Feng Qianyan saw this and just smiled and watched the fun. It seemed that she had experienced a long struggle in her heart. Sun Xiaoya was waiting desperately, and I finally knelt down with her. Mr. Chen saw this and hurriedly said, Please ask the doctor. I did what he said. By the way, break the legs of those who beat me. I ignored Mr. Chen but turned my head to Feng Qianyan and said, You are enjoying watching this fun. Are you not in a hurry to save your granddaughter? Yes, I still have to save my granddaughter. Let's go. As he said that, he pulled me out, and at this time Mr. Chen stood up that I shouted, Please doctor, you can't do this. What should I do with my father's illness? After saying that, two of my men blocked my way, and before I could say anything, I saw the young man named Xiaotong brought by Feng Qianyan instantly turned into a beam of light, and then I heard several screams and instantly 7 or 8 people lay on the ground. I went to cultivate immortality. I really didn't realize that this kid was quite fierce. Seeing this, Mr. Chen cried again. Please help my father. However, I ignored his crying and got in the car directly. We came all the way to the military compound. I knew Feng Qianyan's background. His father and he had participated in the war of resistance against Japan. They were all veterans. I followed him all the way to a sanatorium, and then I saw a comatose girl in the ward. Alas, she had been in a coma for a year. I walked over and looked at the girl on the bed. She was about the same age as me and very beautiful, but she was seriously ill, which made her face almost pale. I picked up the hospital number plate next to him and was stunned for a moment. Zhou Jiqing, your granddaughter. Alas, Jiqing is a miserable person. Child, she is the orphan of my son's comrade-in-arms. While listening to Feng Qianyan telling me about this past event, I felt his pulse and diagnosed him. After a while, I sighed and said that the cold air had entered his body. It seemed that he really had to rely on the 13 ghost needles. What? My daughter is saved? At this time, 2 middle-aged men, one in military uniform and the other in a suit, walked in. Let me introduce them to you. One is my eldest son Feng Qian and the second son Feng Yan. Hearing this, I just wanted to roll my eyes. The names are really easy to remember. The two looked at me with excitement on their faces. Feng Qian, the man in military uniform, spoke first and said, Please, doctor, if you can cure my daughter, I will give you my life. Yes, my niece has been lying in bed for a year. As long as you can save me, I will give you this life as well. Seeing the 2 grown men with red eyes, I suddenly felt a little emotional. Obviously, the girl in the bed is very important to them. This is his blessing, but I have been an orphan since I was a child, and I don't have such a blessing. The only girlfriend I have ever had cheated on me. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but sigh. However, my action scared the 3 people present. Is it difficult for the miracle doctor to treat? Brother, didn't you say it could be cured just now? Seeing Sunlian's nervous look, I burst out laughing and said sorry. It's not because of my illness. His illness can be cured. Just seal the acupuncture points first to stop the cold air in his body from running around, and then clear it out piece by piece. After hearing what I said, several people finally smiled. Feng Qianyan hurriedly said, Then let's do it in the next 2 days. But at this time I shook my head. What's wrong? The 3 of them were nervous again. I looked at them and said slowly, The 13th needle of Gui Men is acupuncture with internal force. Ordinary needles will break after being infused with internal force, so we must use the Yuntai needles handed down from our family. Yes, that's right. I've seen that set of needles, so I'll send someone to get it now. I shook my head again. Feng Qianyan hurriedly said, Brother, don't keep shaking your head. Can we finish our conversation at once? I looked at the 3 people and said slowly, It's a pity that my real one was snatched away by the Chen family. What? Here my Feng Qianyan's heart exploded. The son of a bitch in this world is so arrogant. Dad, I'm going to find him now and I'll go too. Feng Qianyan waved his hand and said in a cold tone, Let's go together. I want to see who dares to stop me. Seeing this, the corners of my mouth raised an arc. This junior brother is really useful. When we really went to Chen's house, I realized that the scene was a bit big. What kind of treatment is it for the traffic police to clear the way? I think they are just pulling a few tanks over. I was shocked. When we arrived at Chen's sanatorium, when they arrived at the gate of the courtyard, the guards were so scared that they peed their pants and hurried back to report. But Feng Qian waved his hand and a big jeep rushed in, followed by dozens of cars. When we all got out of the car, we saw Mr. Chen and his wife running out in a panic, and I saw Chen Yuheng and Sun Xiaoya at a glance, and the 2 of them were holding hands. Although Mr. Chen was also a man who had seen the world, he was a little unsure about so many uniforms. Kamen, what are you doing here? As soon as he finished speaking, Feng Qianyan immediately he snorted and roared. Humph, you Chen family are so bold that you even dare to rob my senior brother's things. What did we rob? Hearing this, I knew it was my turn to appear. I came in front of him and immediately said indignantly, You robbed my grandfather's relics. Nonsense. At this time Su Xiaoya stood up, pointed at me and roared, I'm your girlfriend. What's wrong with borrowing your needle? Borrow? Humph, are you afraid? You are not familiar with the definition of the word borrow. At this time Chen Yuheng also came out and said in a deep voice, Please, are there any misunderstandings between us? You want that set of needles? I will naturally offer them to my grandfather after you cure him. As soon as he finished speaking, Mr. Chen's face next to him collapsed, but I saw this fool and laughed. What's the situation now? It seems that he hasn't figured it out yet. Sure enough, Feng Qian's face changed and he roared, You are threatening us. Come on, drag him away from me. Wait, brother, your identity is not convenient. Let me do it. As he said, Chen Yan waved his hand, and a group of black-clothed bodyguards rushed over. Then he turned his head and looked at me and said, Divine doctor, that people say she is your girlfriend, right? She is not anymore. Okay, then drag her down together. Everyone will get 100 slaps in the face. At this time, Mr. Chen was also a little angry and said, Do you think I am made of clay from the Chen family? Hearing this, Feng Yan smiled and said, Wait for me for a while. After that, he made a phone call, then came over and said with a smile, Chairman Chen, your company has been acquired by me now. After saying that, Chen Yan ignored him and pushed him away. A group of us finally came to the ward in the mortal world. When we opened the door, I saw an old man in his twilight years. It seemed that the torture of illness had almost exhausted him. I walked up to him. He was unconscious at this time. I took his pulse and then shook my head. This scene was also seen by Mr. Chen, who followed in. He immediately knelt on the ground with a plop and cried, "Little doctor, I beg you, please save my father." I looked at him and said in a cold voice, "If you don't take my needle, I will save him." "Maybe then. Hurry up, but you took my needle so you can't blame me." I slowly came to Mr. Chen, looked down at him and slowly said, "It wasn't me who killed your father, it was you." After saying this, I saw a little boy coming over with a box. I opened it and smiled. I finally got it back. I ignored the Chen family and drove all the way to the sanatorium. After 30 years, the 13 ghost needles reappeared in the arena. When the cold was over, I walked out weakly. The two Fengqian brothers immediately supported me and said, "Please God, are you okay? My daughter." I shook my head and said, "She's okay now. She's okay now." "What does that mean?" I sat down and drank a sip of water and said, "I mean her cold poison will recur." "Ah, junior brother, you have to save her." Feng Qianyan came over at this time and said in a hurry, "I can save her, but hey junior brother, just say it if you have anything to do. It just needs a pure yang body to have yin and yang intercourse with him." "Hey junior brother, aren't you a pure yang body?" After Feng Qianyan said this, he was stunned, and my old face turned red. In an instant, the four men in the room fell silent. After a while, Feng Qian said, "Please doctor, I believe in your character." I looked up at him and then at the other two. They all nodded at me. I let out a long sigh and said, "Okay, then I'll do it with reluctance." 30,000 words are omitted here. When Zhou Jiqing woke up that day, I had already left. In fact, I had long wanted to travel around famous mountains and rivers. After all, my grandfather had done the same thing back then, but I am not an irresponsible person. I left him a letter. In fact, the general meaning was that if he wanted to come to me, he would be responsible, but if he wanted to marry someone else, I had no objection and expressed my blessing. That day I was playing chess with an old Taoist in Fengshui Mountain. Whoever lost would cook dinner. However, at this moment suddenly a pleasant voice came. "Is Qiu Danma here?" I turned my head and looked over when I heard the voice. The other party smiled when he saw me, and I saw that he also smiled. The pretty figure at the door, who else could it be but Zhou Jiqing? The full text is over.